talking to Faisal from Concept Wave today. Hi Faisal. What are the top 3 priorities of communication service providers that you see in the market today?
From experience, the top 3 priorities are catalog, customer, and process management. So just breaking that down into those 3 areas, you got catalog, which is one of the most significant priorities within any CSP that I've worked with over the last 5 years. But there's so many different facets to the catalog issue. So one of the key questions is what is the operator trying to achieve with a catalog strategy? Is it rationalization? Is it understanding what exactly they're selling to their customer base? Is it the ability to achieve time to market targets, as in reducing the time it takes to actually physically get a new product or service to market or even an update? And it's really just getting a better understanding from the operator, what strategy do they need to pursue from a catalog perspective, because so many different operators have different reasons for pursuing a catalog strategy. The next one is the customer. So I think it's a given that an operator understands who the customer is, but how long does a CSR spend interacting with the customer? Typically a CSR desktop is very disorganized, multiple desktops, multiple applications on a desktop, they're alt-tabbing, switching through the many applications, and we've seen some statistics around an interaction with a single customer is in the region of 20 to 30 minutes every interaction, whether it's a positive or a negative one. So again, being able to understand who the customer is, what they're doing, and having the CSR as a single port of call for all of the customer interactions, as opposed to going to multiple departments, accessing multiple systems, being able to address that 360-degree view of the customer. And the final one is process management. So once we've understood what the operator is selling, once they've understood the actual customer and what makes up that customer, the process management around how do you deliver what you've promised to the customer. So people talk about order management, and order management tends to be based around new orders, or tends to be thought around the new orders, but it's not. It should be seen as different types of customer interactions. So product upgrades, product downgrades, upselling, cross-selling, moves, adds, changes, disconnects, all of these should be classed as distinct orders with individual processes built around that. So being able to streamline those, being able to understand what processes need to be invoked, what BSS, OSS applications need to be invoked, getting the data as clean as possible, as early as possible to reduce fallout. And obviously you've got the time to market impact in terms of being able to deliver in the shortest amount of time possible to the best quality as possible, exactly what the customers ask for.
How do you see operators re-engineering their infrastructure in the next 2-3 years to meet up with customer expectations and the demands?
So there's 2 aspects to this. There's the IT aspect, and the operator tends to look at the IT aspect in 2 areas. Complete business transformation, BSS, OSS transformation, literally throwing out and switching off the old legacy applications and putting in brand new state-of-the-art, bleeding-edge, leading-edge systems, maybe outsourced through an SI or some kind of application service provider. Then there's the idea of IT reorganization in terms of sweating the assets. Why not use what we already have? Maybe my system's only 2 years old, 3 years old. I've made a massive investment. It actually works, and we know it works, but we're not utilizing it to the full potential. So there's a restructure in terms of being able to understand what does the IT environment look like? Does the operator actually want to physically change things or use the things that they actually have? More importantly is the human side. So restructuring the organization so that the people can actually use these systems effectively. So one of the things that I've seen happening more and more is operators introducing the concept of a CPO, a Chief Product Officer, someone who is responsible for selling products, managing products, understanding what is actually being sold to the target consumers, whether it's B2B, whether it's B2C, whether it's mass market, resellers, white labels, it doesn't really matter, but they're responsible for getting those products out there under the name of the company banner. Within that, you've got product managers and the product management organization. So it's quite important to understand currently product management is very, very disparate within the BSS OSS world. You will have a product manager for billing. You will have product manager for billing in the wireline and the wireless and the mobile space and the internet space. So individual product managers doing the same thing within their own domain. Multiply that for CRM, multiply that for provisioning, fulfillment, interconnect. So there's no single person or no single group within the organization who knows what is actually being sold. Everyone has their own version. So the Chief Product Officer tends to bring to the table a dedicated organization where all of these facets can either sit in the same department or actually have share the same forum where they can then share ideas and actually understand exactly what's going on within the entire organization from a product perspective. There's no right or wrong answer in terms of what is being sold as long as everyone's on the same hymn sheet and is talking off the same page. So when we talk about IT restructuring or CSP restructuring, we look at it from the IT world as well as the human world.
If there is one thing, Faisal, that you want to change about a communication service provider, what would that be?
So, quite controversial, but one of the things I'd like to change is getting IT to actually talk to the business. So quite often when we talk to the product managers, they say the biggest issue or the biggest bottleneck tends to be IT. Why is it taking so long to get a new product or a new service or a new business process or a new function out to the marketplace or finalized within the organization? Typically the answer lies within IT. Why? Because they may or may not have systems that support ease of configuration or support these time to market metrics. And typically the business goes to IT and says, this is my business issue, fix it. IT take a sharp intake of breath. They say, well, it's going to take us 6, 7, 8, 9 months. You're on the back of the queue. Some systems need customization. We need help from the vendors. So they come up with all kinds of issues and excuses of why they can't do what the business wants it to do. So opening up a forum, opening up a channel, getting IT invested in understanding what the business is trying to achieve, getting them understanding how does the business get paid. So a product manager gets paid on how many new products or service they get to market within a predefined period. So getting IT to understand what is driving the business organization, what is driving those business channels, and understanding why there's such a demand on the IT infrastructure to make these changes quickly and efficiently. Because they work for the same organization, the idea is to make the organization as successful as possible. They work for the same team, but currently they're completely battling each other. So if there's one thing I'd change, it's opening up that channel between the IT and the business communities within the operator.
Thank you, Faisal, for speaking to us today.
All right, thank you very much, Ari.